Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. Obviously, I didn't get to live stream these fights with you guys. I was busy in Florida hanging out with my family, my kids. And but I did watch the fights. I watched them. I think I was writing to some of you guys on the Discord server while they were going on. I just didn't live stream on the Discord server with you guys and provide live commentary, live betting advice and reactions and things of this nature. It's unfortunate because I think we could have made some money, could have helped some of you guys out. It is what it is. Overall, on the card though, went 9-3 out of 12 fights, went 9-3, missed 3 of them, money line. It's devastating because one of the 3 we missed was Bo Nickel, and I need to own it. I got it wrong. I misread all day long, and I'll talk about it in ice cold in the parlay section here. But if you bet them straight across, these are huge numbers. We betting straight across doesn't look good, but I'm gonna need to remind you guys, when I write stuff like this is the best value, the best spot to make your money on the card. I've done that 3 cards in a row now, where I identify a fight and I tell you guys, oh, this is the best fight to make your money. Whether it was Lawmaker against Simon the week before, I believe in this particular card, I think Patty was my favorite spot to make your money. It's usually going to be one of these spots where I see a minus 100, under minus 200, and I go, yeah, this is where we should be making our money. Chan Ho Lee. And it's going to be, yes, I understand we're going to get these right. These don't matter. Minus 1,000 don't matter. It's the other ones. So I'll get into it, though. But the reason we do these results videos is because I want to talk about the fighters while it's still fresh in my mind so we can have an accurate assessment of the fighters. And then moving forward, we have digital notes, if you will, and I like to share my thoughts with you guys. So the first fight of the night was Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. I had Petrovic in 2 parlays, and we talk about Petrovic, but never forget, I'm anti-women's fights. Next week, there's going to be a bunch of women's fights I'm not anti, and I believe in them this upcoming week for UFC 315. But in this particular fight, I just don't like early prelim fights for women. Some show up to fight, some don't. And in this particular case, Juliana Miller showed up to fight, I guess, right? 8 minutes of control time. You can't ignore it. She ends up winning rounds. There's no way she didn't win the round type deal. So it's just an easy 29-28 all the way across the board. No confusion here. And Ivana's just not very good. Just not very good. And Juliana Miller, she's got that dog in her, I guess, to grapple a little bit. But I'm not a believer in her at all either. I think these are very low-level fighters. And if you're betting on this shit, get a life. I don't think Petrovic's reliable, and neither is Juliana Miller. And if you lost your ass because of this, I saw MVPs writing to me. Trust me, I get DMs every time I miss. MVPs writing to me saying, I can't believe this. I can't believe I put so much money on this girl. He told me she was good and all this. Do your own research. And then when my research coincides with your research, make your bets, bro. But leave me the fuck alone. Just continue. Move along. I ain't got time for it. I get 9 out of 12. And you want to talk to me about the early prelim chicks fight? Dude, I bet you're dating the wrong woman right now. And you're mad about some fucking UFC pick? Get your life together, dude. I don't care. Next fight. I told you the thought of Dontel Mays is way better than Dontel Mays. This dude trains at a terrible gym. He's been a terrible fighter. He's got that quit in him. He's nothing special. And I said, let's take Thomas Peterson. Now, the odds were in the minus 200s throughout the week. That would have been a bargain. Because this man went out there winning 30-26 on 2 cards, 30-25 on 1 card. This is embarrassing. Dontel May should be cut from the UFC, and we should never see him again. So the notes on him are big waste of space. That's it. Big waste of space. Many of you can relate. But as far as Thomas Peterson goes, don't get too excited. I guess he won this fight, and he looked like a world beater doing it. He landed over 100 significant strikes. I get it, but come on, man. 9 for 9 on takedowns. That's wild. First and foremost, if I see 9 takedowns, that means you have 0 control. You should have 3 takedowns for 13 minutes of control time. You should hold him down for the entire round. I should not see 9 takedowns. That's an average of 3 takedowns per round. That means you have no positive control of your opponent. They can get back up. I don't like that, okay? And yes, this man was, I guess, dominating the fight. It's embarrassing. Thomas Peterson still not worth talking about. I think he throws pillows for fists. If I'm a heavyweight and I land 100 strikes on you, you shouldn't be breathing anymore. A gorilla's going to beat 100 Thomas Petersons, okay? Next, got it wrong again on the prelim. Wasn't a lock by any means. It was just one of those picks where I went with Gaston Bolaños, and if you saw this fight, no, he wasn't ready for this. Quang Bang Lee looked like a dog, man. He looked like a scrapper. Now, some of the things I didn't like about him, when he went for that rear naked choke, he wasn't doing it correctly. It still put this man to sleep. So obviously he was doing it correctly, but he doesn't do some things fundamentally right as a fighter. I think they kind of mimic what they see in the gym, but it worked. It was effective, and he just dominated this fight. There's nowhere he didn't look like the better fighter. On your feet, on the ground, and this Bolaños dude is just fake F, right? Fake as a $3 bill. Fake as some of you cats. Like, I don't know, but he's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I thought he would hit harder. Bang, do all these things. And obviously Vegas thought the same thing. They had him at a minus 140. They had him in the favorite, and this guy looked like nothing. Terrible. 8 strikes landed in this whole fight. He landed 8 strikes, and he fought for over 5 minutes. It's embarrassing. And then dude ends the fight taking a nap in the middle of the octagon. Sleep. Didn't even tap. Everybody's like, he went out on his sword. What sword? Dude showed up with no sword, bro. He went out on his dagger. Homie had no sword. Trash. Quang Bang Lee. One of these Vietnamese fighters, one of these Asian fighters, I don't want to believe in their chin or anything, but he's out there chain wrestling. He's out there doing his thing. He looked great, and he dominated. Don't worry about Marina Rodriguez. She laid her gloves in the cage and retired. Rightfully so. You go out there and only throw 7 strikes. You're supposed to be a striker. Just getting taken down at will and controlled. You see this? This is a difference here. Jillian Robertson gets a takedown and just controls the whole thing. 2 takedowns, 5 minutes control time. You're not getting back up. I'm a monster grappler. Oh, by the way, I'm going to ground and pound you. I'm learning to not be a jiu-jitsu nerd. I'm learning to ground and pound. I'm learning to land strikes when it really matters. And she's starting to become like that contender, and she's going to get those real fights coming up here. So we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with Jillian Robertson. Now, it is a women's fight, so careful. But in this particular fight, she looked as good as I said she would be, and even better, right? And Mariana Rodriguez is always known to be a striker. Don't even worry about it anymore. The only thing she's striking now are matches, right? She ain't shit. So she's gone, and Jillian Robertson continues her upward movement and keeps winning. Azamat Bekoyev versus Ryan Loder. We picked Bekoyev in the fight, and then I told you there's an EV here for Loder. No, there's not. That boy went out there, got ping pong, bing bong. That boy got just knocked upside the head silly. I'm serious. 1-2 punches going left and right. His body was going everywhere. And Bekoyev looked like a beast. He looked incredibly strong, a bully, if you will. And he just looked very dominant all the way around. I think the odds were correct at a minus 340. And I was wrong in my assessment of the odds. But Bekoyev probably should have been a lock. And that Bo Nickel dude, listen, I'm never going to second guess myself, because no matter how I assess that fight, I'm going to talk about how I should have assessed it, but in the moment, I have to live with what I did. So it is what it is. But Bekoyev looked good, looked strong, powerful, and Ryan Loder looks like a regional guy who doesn't belong in the UFC. He doesn't have any stand-up. He mimics stand-up. He's not a real stand-up fighter. He's a wrestler, and if you can't get your takedowns, he attempted to get 4 takedowns, didn't get it, you're done. So there's nothing else there. Next fight, I told you I was taking Yana Santos for a couple reasons. First and foremost, Yana Santos has never been at the echelon of a fighter as Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate, former world champ. But Miesha Tate is not a real MMA fighter. She's one of them old-fashioned ones. And those old-fashioned ones, they got one skill set. They know how to do one thing. In her particular case, it's grapple. She's not an offensive wrestler. She's not a good striker. She just doesn't bring anything to the table. So, yes, she wins a round because she gets one takedown and she gets a lot of control time with it. Got it. She doesn't do nothing else. To lose this fight, she lost 29-28. Doesn't matter how many significant strikes you landed, because that's a totality number, right? That's a total number. And we do rounds. We do scoring by rounds. So you could have lost the first and the third round, but landed a ton in the second round. Nobody cares, right? So for Miesha Tate, I just knew she wasn't going to win. She's also had a 2-year layoff, so I couldn't go with her. And this is one of those situations where I picked underdogs to win. And if you guys don't know this, while looking at this fight card, only 3 underdogs won. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3 underdogs won on the prelims. I only got one of them right. Okay? 1 out of the 3. It's tough. 33% of the underdogs is all I got. On the main card, 2 underdogs win. 2. And I got half of them. This is the hardest thing to do. You can go chalk all day if you want to. Vegas is going to build more towers. Okay, you got to try to figure out where the underdogs are. Now, the 2 value bets I made, I got them right. I got to be able to predict something like this. I got to be able to predict a plus 260 Done it before, but in this particular case, the 2 underdogs I did pick on the card, we got them right. I feel good about that. I know the parlays could have been different, better. This is why I say blind tailors lose their ass, but people who watch the videos and come up with their own parlays, they tend to win a lot more than others. But in this particular case, I knew Yana Santos was not having a 2-year layoff. She's very active. She's athletic. She's been working hard. She impressed me in her last fight before this, so I knew that she was going to be better than Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate's just not real. She's trying to get some money. And they speaking of get some money, Jeremy Stevens over here, the Heathen Stevens, dude hasn't won a fight in forever, right? He lost, 10 out of his last 12, and then he shows up here and looks absolutely gross. I told you it's not going to happen. Now, I had Mason Jones inside the distance. We went the distance, but it was 30-27, not close. Jeremy Stevens won't get another UFC fight. It was a one-fight contract, so we won't see him again. But pay attention to what Mason Jones was doing. He was grappling. He was controlling his opponent. He was dominating this fight. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to watch it back again, and I'm going to make sure that the next time he gets paired up with somebody, we got to make sure these odds are right. Because 725, this is great, 725 odds, but I need you to finish a fighter, especially a guy who hasn't fought in a long time. If you're not finishing guys and you become a decision merchant, or you're just riding it out to win the fight, like, I don't like you. Even if it's 30-27, I don't like you. For a number of reasons. Judges will rob you. So just careful with that. Next time we see Mason Jones, he'll probably be a bigger favorite. Or obviously he's fighting a better fighter. Speaking of better fighter, this was the best value on the card. I told all of you that the city here, Series CD, is just so much better than Cameron Smotherman. Cameron Smotherman won his last fight with luck. Previous fight. Or was it he had a good showing and a loss? What was it? It wasn't a win. I think it was the loss. Yeah, no, it was a win. Jake Hadley. So he was a last-minute replacement, beats Jake Hadley. They cut Jake Hadley from the UFC. But you beat this Canadian dude, and I'm just like, nah, that's not real. You beat Jake Hadley. I'm not impressed with that, and you're not doing that to City here. City here had his way, shooting takedown after takedown after takedown. Okay, 12 attempted takedowns. Impressive. Just that went out there and imposed his will. Whether he lands everything or outlands you, it doesn't matter. It's just, it looks effective. Never a doubt. Never a doubt in my mind. Shout out to City. And shout out to the MVPs who bet this straight across like it was a lock. When I tell you it's best value, I start talking about multiple units, right? I say this is the spot where you can make money tonight. I pick one fight and say this is the spot you can make money. We haven't missed a single time I say that. But you might miss if you don't make the bets. That's why colors mean things on the chart. And I'm going to get into that after this. So then there's Montel Jackson here, Daniel Marcos. I was disappointed in this fight only because it looked like a grappler's... I don't know. It looked like two great strikers, and Daniel Marcos is not a great striker. Let me start over. It didn't look like two great strikers. It was two guys who have striking acumen, and when they got in there to scrap, Daniel Marcos just started hugging. But I saw Montel Jackson in the second and the third round. He came out there and just started laying it on him, throwing some real leather. But they also both looked very tired. And once you get tired like that, things start getting sloppy. Daniel Marcos walked off after he lost 30-27. He was all upset, but it wasn't close. I don't know if he thought he was winning the fight because of takedowns and control time, but he wasn't throwing anything. This man, 24 punches in 15 minutes? In 15 minutes, you land 24 significant strikes. I told you, it doesn't matter how many strikes you land in a total in a fight because you could outland a guy. 20? No, it does matter if it's 24. What round were you planning on winning with 24? Dude's a fraud. He's been a fraud for a while now. He shouldn't even been undefeated going into this fight. He should have lost earlier, at least twice now. And then Montel Jackson, watching him get taken down like that was embarrassing. Like, he just doesn't have either really good, he doesn't have really good balance. And you would think he's super athletic. He strikes really unique and does things, but I did not like his takedown defense at all. He was easy to take down. He just fell right over. He toppled over. There was no sprawl in him. There was nothing that I fundamentally saw good about his takedown defense. I actually thought it was atrocious. He just looked like he was easy to take down. He was waiting to fall over. Straight up Jenga. Like, I didn't like it at all. So I'm glad we got it right. Shout out to Montel Jackson, but my goodness. And shout out to undefeated fighters finally losing, right? Every single time this year, undefeated fighters have lost on every single card. We had two of them lose here. Freaking Bo. And then the next fight. Yes, I got it right. Yes, I took Daniel Rodriguez. But let me tell you, I don't want to pick Daniel Rodriguez. I don't. Santiago's just fake. He's tough for a little bit, but I know if you touch him in any way, he just folds over. He's just terrible. And he'll get mad about getting knocked out, whatever, but those punches weren't even real. Like, Daniel Rodriguez, to me, D-Rod was exhausted after the first round. He was exhausted after the first round. They did not look good. They looked like two aging fighters that shouldn't be fighting anymore. They really did. But Ponzinibbio, I think he wore himself out trying these takedowns over and over and over. Eight attempts on takedowns. He was gassed out of his mind, and then he just said, I'll fall to anything. I'll fall. You ever been there? You just been so tired, you're like, man, I'm done. Hit me one time, I'm falling over. I don't know. It was terrible. So, got it right, but Daniel Rodriguez still not impressing me. He still does the same things he's always done. Nice jab. Good movement. But he's missing levels to his game, and that's who he is. Dude's like 37, 38. This is who he is. So, they're not going to learn anything new from these guys. Santiago just sucks. And shout out to Vegas. They must really like his odds. So, we might get a good value fading him again. Talking about fading. So, before this fight, I told you guys Bo Nickel is a very controlled fighter. And his last fight, he was fighting Paul Craig, and he did his best to avoid engaging and grappling with him, and he just played it safe and just tried to beat him up and try to win the fight. And he won, and he played the game. He did the whole GSP thing, the George St. Pierre thing. If you don't know what that means, it means a guy who's gaming the sport. Not trying to beat the hell out of a guy in front of him, not trying to knock him out, not trying to submit him. Just score for the judges. You know, those guys who shoot for a takedown with 1 minute remaining, stuff like that. So, Bo Nickel, I told you all these things. And you know what I should have talked about? I was thinking about this as I was driving home today. I should have talked about the fact that Reinier de Ridder has fought 22 times, and he's only lost twice. He doesn't lose to guys like this. He doesn't lose to people unless he's only lost to the same guy twice. Like, he's not losing to dudes who are this green, who don't know how to fight. And Bo Nickel doesn't know how to fight. Bo Nickel does not know. Now, if he throws them wild punches and one of them lands, sure. Every fighter's got that. Every fighter's got a puncher's chance. Bo Nickel does not know how to fight. I'm serious. This ain't wrestling. I used to tell my fighters, in real life, you can't pull a guillotine because somebody will bite your forearm off and rip your balls off with their free hands. Someone will grab their 9mm and finish you. Yeah, that's what I used to tell them. He used to tell them if you want to ever get their chin up from a rear naked choke, you just reach into their eyeballs and rake it up. You reach into their nose and rake it up. Be careful, though. Their mouth is right there. They might bite your fingers off. I think when Bo Nickal fights, he doesn't think about what's open or what are the options my opponent has that he can inflict his will upon me. In wrestling, you don't have to worry about anything. You know, we talk about fight stance, and in boxing, boxers have a really wide stance because they need to keep their balance. They need a wide base. They have a really wide stance. But the reason they have such a wide stance is because you can't kick them. You're not allowed to kick their lead leg. And then in kickboxing, everybody's stance is very narrow because they don't want you to know where the kick is coming from. So they kind of stand with their feet together. And then in MMA, you kind of split the difference. You're not quite boxer, not quite kickboxer. You're kind of in the middle. Well, let's just say Bo Nickal, his fight stance and his way to engage his opponent is like that of a wrestler. And in wrestling, there's no knees. And in wrestling, you don't have to worry about a guy repeatedly kneeing your entire torso. Bo Nickal was pathetically unprepared for that strike and for that fight. I thought he's small. He's small for the weight division. He might be strong. You'd be strong all you want. Some dude from the Netherlands, fucking Viking, came over and just towered over you. And there was no reason to try to get a takedown and grapple with him. And Bo Nickal tried to do that in the first round. Left him exhausted. He was worthless the rest of the way. So, seeing Bo Nickal the last two fights now, I've seen a guy stuck in neutral. I've seen a guy who doesn't have that clutch gene, that get him out of there gene, that I'm going to go take over the fight. I'm an amazing athlete. I'm here to win. Like, I just don't see it from Bo Nickal. And if Vegas loves him, then we're just going to fade the hell out of him. But that de Ridder dude, being 20-2, RDR does not lose. He doesn't allow himself to lose. He fights smart, defensively responsible the whole time. And he's just such a difficult challenge in the clinch. And I heard them. Bo Nickal's corner kept saying, and I rewound it. I rewatched it driving home today. Bo Nickal's corner kept telling him, keep your head up. Keep your head up. And you know why? Because they were worried about knees to the face when Bo would go for takedowns. So while they were in the clinch, DeRitter has the ability to knee you when you're in the clinch with him because he's that flexible and he's that big. And his corner's yelling out, keep your head up. Well, while he kept his head up, he kept his entire abdomen wide open. And now we don't need to knee your face. We can just knee your entire rib cage. Bo Nickal had signs of this. And not being able to finish Paul Craig, not looking impressive against Paul Craig. I read it the wrong way. I read it as rinse and repeat, do that again. Well, if you do that again, the next guy's going to beat the shit out of you. And that's exactly what happened. Bo Nickal's not an elite level fighter, and he doesn't belong up there with the champions. And obviously, DeRitter, being a former one champ, where was he at? He was in Arisen or one? What was he in? He was in something. What was his fight league he was in before he came over? I apologize. I should know this. One, yeah, he's a former one champ, but he lost twice. But that dude right there is a problem, bro. This guy right here is a real fighter. He's been fighting for a really long time. 34 years old, got a lifetime of experience, and being 6'4", 185 is no joke. I thought he was stronger than Bo Nickal. And the announcers gassing Bo Nickal up. That's fine. Bo Nickal did not impress me. He's embarrassed me, and he obviously lost a lot of money if you bet on Bo Nickal in any way, shape, or form. Parlayed it with that, whatever. Missed everything because of Bo Nickal. Never have a single point of failure. Diversify. I talked to an MVP before I got on live stream, and he said, hey, Rico, I won a ton of money this weekend. I said, oh, yeah, how'd you do that? He goes, I just round robined all the locks. That's pretty much how that works. Round robin, 3 out of 4. Yeah, because we got 3 out of the 4 locks right. We got 4 locks right last week. Round robin. Just cover your ass. CYA. Pretty good stuff. Some MVPs better than others. Some cappers better than others. Final fight of the night, and this is why I'm going to talk to you guys about color scheme. I saw a lot of MVPs talking about, I got Corey Sandhagen by points. I got Corey Sandhagen by points. And they kept recommending Corey Sandhagen by points to other people. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. Is Corey Sandhagen going to win this fight? Yes. The odds were minus 550. Cool. So how do you win money there? Well, you can go crazy. You can go and overextend yourself. Or we can just sit back and recognize that Figgy here is not the real deal. Figgy does not belong in this weight class. He can't beat the guys at the upper echelon. He can't fight a whole fight. You knew it wasn't going to last. All this other stuff, right? But Rico, you put points on the card. Yeah, let me show you something. And this is why this matters. Color scheme matters. And we've educated you guys as best we can. Nothing else I can do. It's on the card in color for you guys to understand it. So let's talk about the color scheme. If you see it in white text, that means it was green before we filled it in. That means it was a lock. Green. Lock. We hit our greens. We're good. We missed one green. We've already talked about it at length. Then there's the blacks. These are the leans. We're hitting locks at 70%. We're hitting leans at 67% on the year. Now, last year, this was 83%, and this was 66%. So we're doing great on money line picks across the board. It doesn't matter if it's a lock or a lean. We're doing good. But then there's these value bets. And we understand. It's taking an underdog to win the fight outright. Not plus 3.5. And it's just money line, and we're hitting those at 42. They're always plus money. It's a good place to be if you get them right. And nowhere in here does it say parlay anything. This is just straight across, okay? But there are these locks, which are the parlay locks, and we're sitting just above 50%, and that stings. But it's for the whole year, right? So we're just above 50%. We're at 40 and 37 on the year. That's fine. The next one are the ones I tell you guys about. And I've been talking about this at length. If I put a prop in black, it's 61% right. It's highly accurate. If I put a prop in black, it doesn't matter what the odds are. Remember, I'm not tracking ROI. I'm not tracking what the odds are on these. I don't care. If I put it in black, that means it's a lean, and that shit's gonna happen. Okay? I can't stress this enough to you guys. But if I put it in purple, it's not going to happen. If I put it in purple, You don't fucking bet it. It's 33% for crying out loud, bro. It's on the chart every week. That purple is not going to happen. That purple is not going to happen. So when I see MVPs recommending to other MVPs, hey, I'm going by points. Hey, I went by points. It's right there. And it says 31%. Oh, I lost my ass. Rico, what the fuck is wrong with you? It says best value. It's in black. That's going to hit 67% of the time. I'm not making up these numbers. It's assessing results. It's right there. A minus 135 hitting at 67% of the time, you'd be rich. But you got to bet on every fight. You got to go bet method. You got a lottery ticket. You got a 4-leg parlay. I don't trust anything with more than 2 legs. And then I got to hear about your fucking misses. I got to hear about your terrible betting strategy. You got to write to me and tell me all about it. Newsflash. I don't give a shit. I put it right here for all of you to read it. We don't hide it. I'm not going around selling you a pipe dream. I don't got a bunch of stacks of money in front of me with gold chains. Hey, yo, man, just tail this value bet right here. Just tail this plus 300. We're about to make some change. I'm not doing none of that shit. I sit back and I go, hey, guys, these are the locks for me. This is the best value on the card. This is where I would put multiple units right here. This one's good. This works for me. Hey, these are all coin flips. I really wouldn't mess with these. I'm not a magician. And then you miss. And then you run to Twitter, and you run to your friends, and you run to the losers in the comments. You know, that guy's a fraud. That guy's a liar. He's a fraud. He doesn't hit nothing. 70%, 67%. And we could go back multiple years. Nobody's hiding anything. You don't hit shit. You are the fraud. Whatever your gambling percentage is your business. I don't worry about it. But I can tell you this. If I don't improve your gambling percentage, stay the fuck away from me, bro. You don't follow directions. You don't follow instructions. You're the dude entering do not enter signs. You're the guy pulling on a door when it says push. You're absurd. I bet Rico, I went out there, I bet that, hey, man, I lost my, man, I can't believe this. I'm on Sandhagen by points. I put it in purple. It doesn't matter what the odds are on the sports book. If I look at a prop and I make it a certain color, that's me assessing the likelihood of that happening. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't care what the odds are. When I say, oh, that is a purple level bet, that is a black level bet, that is a green level bet, the odds are irrelevant to me. It's when I put it in those categories, they hit at these percentages down there. That's why we keep track of these. To help you. It's color coded, bro. Match the fucking colors, bro. It's like a coloring book. And some of you are eating glue. Some of you are sniffing the markers. Just match the colors. Put your green on that shit right there, bro. Can't help you, dude. Can't help you. I'll be making a video on UFC 315. It'll be one video. I'm busy all week. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Thanks for being MVPs.